For these 6 people, the perfect selfie became their final moment. From storm chasing to celebration photos, these are the stories of ordinary people whose last pictures captured more than they ever intended. It was August 14, 2015, and the afternoon sun cast long shadows across the rugged peaks of Rocky Mountain National Park as storm clouds began building on the western horizon. The summer hiking season was in full swing, with hundreds of visitors exploring the park's 415 square miles of wilderness trails and scenic overlooks. At 11,000 feet above sea level, the weather could change from clear skies to dangerous storms within minutes. Marcus Thompson adjusted his backpack straps as he and his girlfriend Sarah reached the halfway point of their anniversary hike to Bear Lake Overlook. At 28, the experienced park ranger had spent 5 years working in the Rockies, developing an intimate knowledge of the terrain and weather patterns that made him one of the most respected guides in the park. His colleagues trusted his judgment completely, often seeking his advice about trail conditions and safety protocols. Marcus was off duty that day, celebrating his 2-year anniversary with Sarah by hiking to their favorite scenic spot, where they had shared their first kiss. Sarah had been documenting their relationship through photography since they met, creating albums that captured their adventures throughout Colorado's wilderness areas. She carried a professional camera and had been taking photos all day, wanting to create lasting memories of their special celebration. The couple had noticed the storm clouds building throughout the afternoon, but Marcus felt confident they could reach the overlook and return to their car before any dangerous weather arrived. His experience reading mountain weather patterns had never failed him, and he estimated they had at least an hour before the storm would reach their location. Marcus rarely took selfies, preferring to let Sarah handle the photography while he focused on navigation and safety. However, the dramatic storm clouds building behind them created such a striking backdrop that he decided to capture the moment with his phone. As they reached the summit overlook, Marcus pulled out his iPhone to take their first selfie together at this meaningful location. The storm clouds had grown more impressive, creating a dramatic contrast against the clear blue sky above them. He held the phone high above their heads, smiling broadly while Sarah posed beside him, both of them excited about capturing this perfect moment. Standing exposed at the overlook made Marcus the most vulnerable point on the ridge. When the lightning bolt, carrying over 30,000 amperes of current, connected with his body, the metal components in the phone superheated instantly, concentrating the burn at the point of contact before the discharge stopped his heart and caused severe electrical burns throughout his nervous system. Marcus Thompson died instantly from the lightning strike. His body was found still holding the phone that captured their final moments, the casing partially scorched where the discharge passed through his hand and stopped his heart before emergency responders could reach the ridge. Sarah survived with severe burns and spent 3 months in recovery, both physically and emotionally traumatized by witnessing Marcus's death. The selfie went viral posthumously, becoming a cautionary tale about the dangers of using electronic devices during thunderstorms. Interestingly, Marcus had left his park radio in the car that day, a small deviation from protocol that meant he missed the lightning warning issued just 10 minutes before the strike. It was June 8, 2017, and the California coastline sparkled under the late afternoon sun as recent college graduates celebrated the end of their academic careers along the scenic highways of Big Sur. The dramatic cliffs and crashing waves provided the perfect backdrop for celebration photos, drawing thousands of visitors each year to capture memories at one of America's most photographed landscapes. The 90-mile stretch of coastline featured numerous overlooks where tourists could safely view the Pacific Ocean from heights reaching 200 feet above sea level. Isabella Chen adjusted her graduation cap as she and her friends explored the various scenic viewpoints along Highway 1, searching for the perfect location to commemorate her achievement. At 22, the environmental science graduate from UC Berkeley had spent 4 years studying coastal ecosystems and conservation, developing a deep appreciation for the natural beauty that surrounded them. Her parents had been unable to attend her graduation ceremony due to work commitments, making these photos especially important for sharing her accomplishment with family. Isabella was known among her friends for her adventurous spirit and love of nature photography, often sharing stunning landscape images on social media that showcased California's diverse environments. She had planned this graduation celebration weekend specifically to combine her passion for photography with marking this important milestone in her life. Her friends had driven down from Berkeley in 2 cars, planning to camp along the coast and explore the area's most scenic locations. The group had spent the morning visiting several established viewpoints, but Isabella wanted something more dramatic and unique for her graduation photos. She had scouted a cliff-edge location that offered an unobstructed view of the ocean and would provide the perfect backdrop for her cap and gown photos. Her friends expressed some concern about the loose sandstone and lack of safety barriers, but Isabella assured them she would be careful and stay well back from the edge. Isabella positioned herself approximately 6 feet from the cliff edge, wearing her graduation cap and holding her diploma, while her friends prepared to take photos with both her camera and their phones. She wanted multiple angles to ensure she had the perfect image to send to her parents and post on social media. The late afternoon lighting created ideal conditions for photography, with the sun casting a golden glow across the ocean below. As Isabella extended her selfie stick to capture both her achievement and the dramatic ocean view, she took several steps backward to include more of the scenery in the frame. Her friends called out warnings, but she was focused on getting the perfect angle and didn't realize how close she had moved to the unstable cliff edge. The sandstone beneath her feet, weakened by recent winter storms and constant erosion, began to crumble under her weight. Isabella's friends watched in horror as she lost her footing and fell backward off the cliff while still holding her phone. The device continued recording as she fell 200 feet to the rocky shoreline below, capturing her terrified expression and the spinning view of sky and ocean during her final moments. The impact with the rocks was fatal, and Isabella Chen died instantly from massive trauma. The selfie and video footage became crucial evidence in subsequent investigations and lawsuits regarding the lack of safety barriers at popular but dangerous photo locations. Isabella's parents filed suit against the state for inadequate warnings and protection at the scenic overlook. The location was permanently closed to public access, and warning signs were installed at similar viewpoints throughout the Big Sur area. It was September 23rd, 2014, and the golden afternoon light filtered through Portland's urban landscape as photography students throughout the city worked on their semester projects documenting modern American infrastructure. The Pacific Northwest's industrial heritage provided countless opportunities for artistic exploration, from abandoned warehouses to active railroad corridors that crisscrossed the metropolitan area. The steel bridge, spanning the Willamette River, had become a popular location for urban photographers seeking dramatic architectural subjects. Tyler Rodriguez shouldered his camera bag as he approached the active railroad bridge, excited about capturing what he envisioned as the centerpiece of his photography portfolio. At 19, the community college student had developed a passion for industrial photography, spending weekends exploring Portland's bridges, rail yards, and abandoned buildings. His professor had praised his eye for composition and encouraged him to push creative boundaries while maintaining safety awareness. Tyler's project focused on self-portraits in various urban environments, creating a series that showed the relationship between individuals and the industrial landscape that shaped modern cities. He had already photographed himself in several locations throughout Portland, but wanted something more dramatic and artistic for his final submission. The railroad bridge offered the perfect combination of architectural interest and urban grit that defined his photographic style. The bridge carried active freight traffic throughout the day, but Tyler had observed the train schedule and believed he could safely complete his photo session between scheduled runs. He often explored railroad infrastructure for his photography, confident that he could hear approaching trains with plenty of time to move to safety. His friends had expressed concerns about photographing on active tracks, but Tyler assured them he was experienced and cautious. That afternoon, Tyler chose the center span of the railroad bridge for what he planned to be his most striking artistic self-portrait. The location offered dramatic views of the river below and the city skyline beyond, creating the perfect backdrop for his vision. He set up his camera on a tripod with a timer function, allowing him to position himself in the frame while maintaining artistic control over the composition. Tyler positioned himself in the center of the railroad tracks, setting his camera timer for multiple exposures to ensure he captured the perfect shot. He was wearing his new noise-canceling headphones to block out city sounds and help him focus on his artistic vision, a habit he had developed to maintain concentration during photo shoots. The headphones were a recent purchase that he was particularly proud of, having saved for months to afford the high-end audio equipment. As Tyler posed for multiple shots, adjusting his position and expression for each exposure, an approaching freight train's warning horn was completely muffled by his headphones. The engineer had spotted him on the tracks and was sounding the horn repeatedly while applying emergency brakes, but the train's massive weight made stopping impossible within the available distance. Tyler finally noticed the train's headlight reflecting off nearby buildings, but realized he was trapped in the middle of the long bridge with nowhere to escape. Tyler's final selfie captured his look of absolute terror as he realized the approaching train. The image automatically saved to his camera's memory card. The freight train struck him at approximately 35 miles per hour, and Tyler Rodriguez died instantly from massive trauma. His camera equipment was destroyed in the impact, but the memory card survived and was recovered by investigators. The train engineer required months of counseling before returning to work, haunted by the image of Tyler's final moments on the tracks. Tyler's photography professor used his death to teach future students about the critical importance of safety over artistic vision. The railroad company installed additional warning systems and increased security patrols on bridges popular with urban photographers. It was July 4th, 2016, and the scorching Texas heat shimmered off the limestone cliffs surrounding Jacob's Well, a popular swimming destination near Austin, where temperatures had reached 102 degrees by mid-afternoon. The natural spring-fed swimming hole attracted hundreds of visitors during holiday weekends, drawn by the crystal-clear water and the thrill of cliff jumping from various heights. The highest jumping point, known locally as Dead Man's Leap, stood 40 feet above the water and had been used by daredevils for decades. Amanda Walsh applied sunscreen for the third time that day, as she and her friends claimed their spot among the crowded limestone ledges surrounding the swimming hole. At 25, the veterinary technician had been visiting Jacob's Well since college, but had always been content to swim and sunbathe rather than attempt the more dangerous cliff jumps. Her friends had been encouraging her all day to try the highest ledge, and the combination of holiday excitement and several beers had made the challenge seem more appealing. Amanda was known among her co-workers for her cautious nature and attention to safety, qualities that made her excellent at her job caring for animals at a busy veterinary clinic. She had always been the responsible one in her friend group, designated driver and voice of reason during their adventures. However, the holiday atmosphere and peer pressure from her friends had gradually worn down her usual reservations about risky activities. The group had been drinking throughout the day, starting with mimosas at brunch and continuing with beer and mixed drinks at the swimming hole. Amanda felt confident and excited, her judgment impaired by alcohol consumption and the infectious enthusiasm of her friends. She had been watching other jumpers successfully make the 40-foot leap all afternoon, and it appeared safe and manageable from her perspective on the lower ledges. What Amanda and her friends didn't realize was that the recent drought had significantly reduced the water level in the swimming hole. The clear spring water made it difficult to judge depth accurately, and the usual 15-foot depth had dropped to only 4 feet in the landing area. Local authorities had posted warnings about the dangerous conditions, but the signs were located at the main entrance and not visible from the jumping areas. Amanda climbed to the highest jumping point, her friends cheering her on and taking photos of her brave ascent. She took several selfies showing her excitement in the water below, wanting to document this uncharacteristic moment of daredevil behavior. The photos captured her genuine joy and anticipation, showing a side of her personality that her co-workers would never have recognized. In her final selfie, Amanda captured herself mid-leap with a joyful expression, giving a thumbs up to the camera while the deceptively shallow water waited below. She held her waterproof phone case and smiled broadly, completely unaware of the deadly conditions that awaited her. The drought had created a hidden danger that was invisible from above, turning what appeared to be a safe jump into a fatal trap. Amanda struck the rocky bottom head first, breaking her neck instantly while her phone continued recording underwater. The impact severed her spinal cord at the C2 vertebra, causing immediate paralysis and death. Her friends dove in immediately, but Amanda was already dead from the severe spinal injury, her body floating motionless in the shallow water. Cliff jumping was officially banned at the site following Amanda's death and several other serious injuries that summer, with patrols and new barrier signs added to enforce the restriction. Her final selfies became part of a safety campaign about the dangers of cliff jumping and alcohol consumption. Amanda's veterinary clinic established a memorial fund for animal rescue organizations, ensuring her caring nature would continue to help animals even after her death. It was July 4th, 2013, and the humid evening air of suburban Detroit filled with the sounds of backyard barbecues and early fireworks as families throughout the neighborhood prepared for their Independence Day celebrations. The residential streets buzzed with activity as children rode bicycles decorated with red, white, and blue streamers, while adults set up lawn chairs and grills for the traditional holiday festivities. In a well-maintained ranch house on Maple Street, the annual 4th of July party was already in full swing. Kevin Johnson flipped burgers on his gas grill while surveying the elaborate fireworks display he had assembled in his backyard, the result of several trips to fireworks stores across state lines, where regulations were more lenient. At 31, the auto mechanic took tremendous pride in hosting the neighborhood's most spectacular Independence Day celebration, a tradition he had maintained for the past 5 years. His garage was filled with professional-grade fireworks that would have impressed any municipal display coordinator. Kevin's reputation for over-the-top holiday parties had made his annual barbecue the most anticipated event in the neighborhood, with families planning their entire 4th of July around attending his celebration. He spent weeks preparing the menu and months collecting fireworks, often driving to Indiana and Ohio, where he could purchase more powerful devices than Michigan law allowed. His friends and neighbors had come to expect an increasingly impressive show each year. The party had been going strong since noon, with Kevin consuming beer steadily throughout the day while playing host to nearly 50 guests. His judgment was impaired by alcohol, but he felt confident and excited about the evening's fireworks display. He had successfully handled similar fireworks for years without incident, and his guests' admiration for his pyrotechnic skills had reinforced his belief in his abilities. As evening approached and the sky began to darken, Kevin prepared to begin the fireworks show that his guests had been anticipating all day. He had saved the most impressive pieces for the finale, including several large Roman candles that he had purchased from a dealer who specialized in professional-grade fireworks. His guests gathered in lawn chairs arranged in a semicircle around the launch area, drinks in hand, and phones ready to record the spectacle. Kevin decided to take a selfie with one of the large Roman candles to document his fearless attitude and impress his social media followers. He lit the firework and held it in one hand, while taking a photo with his phone in the other, smiling confidently at the camera as the first few colorful balls shot safely into the sky behind him. His guests cheered and took their own photos of Kevin's bold display. The Roman candle malfunctioned on the 4th shot, exploding in Kevin's hand instead of launching the pyrotechnic ball into the air. The defective firework contained a manufacturing flaw that caused the explosive charge to detonate prematurely, creating a blast equivalent to a small grenade. Kevin's selfie captured the exact moment of the explosion, showing his shocked expression as the firework detonated in his grip. Kevin suffered severe burns to his face and hands, and shrapnel from the firework penetrated his chest and abdomen, causing massive internal injuries. His guests called 911 immediately, but Kevin's injuries were too severe for the paramedics to treat effectively at the scene. He was rushed to Detroit Medical Center, where surgeons worked for hours to repair the damage caused by the explosion. Kevin Johnson died from his injuries 3 days later, never regaining consciousness after the fireworks accident. His final selfie became evidence in investigations into illegal fireworks sales and safety violations. The fireworks manufacturer faced multiple lawsuits for selling defective products without proper safety warnings, and Kevin's family used his story to advocate for stricter regulations on consumer fireworks sales. It was February 12th, 2018, and the morning sun reflected off the snow-covered landscape surrounding Lake Superior as ice fishermen throughout the Duluth area prepared for what many considered the best fishing day of the winter season. The temperature had reached a relatively mild 28 degrees, making it comfortable for extended periods on the ice, and reports of excellent walleye catches had drawn dozens of anglers to the popular fishing spots. The lake had been frozen for over 2 months, creating what appeared to be safe conditions for ice fishing activities. Robert Anderson loaded his ice fishing gear into his pickup truck, while his 16-year-old son Jake gathered the tackle boxes and portable shelter they would need for their father-son fishing trip. At 44, the construction foreman had been ice fishing on Lake Superior for over 20 years, developing the skills and knowledge that made him one of the most successful anglers in the area. This was Jake's first serious ice fishing expedition, and Robert was excited to share his passion with his son. Robert had been planning this trip for weeks, waiting for the perfect combination of weather conditions and his son's availability during winter break from school. He wanted to create lasting memories and teach Jake the techniques that had been passed down through generations of Minnesota fishermen. His wife had packed them a thermos of hot coffee and sandwiches, expecting them to spend the entire day on the ice. The winter had been unusually warm, with several days of above-freezing temperatures that had concerned some experienced ice fishermen. However, Robert assumed the ice was still thick enough based on his experience from previous years, and the fact that other anglers were already on the lake. He had checked the ice thickness near shore and found it to be adequate, but hadn't tested the conditions in the deeper areas where they planned to fish. Robert and Jake had been fishing for several hours and had caught an impressive string of walleye, making it one of their most successful trips ever. Robert was thrilled with Jake's enthusiasm and natural ability, and wanted to document their special day with photos to share with his wife and friends. He had been taking pictures throughout the day, capturing Jake's excitement with each fish they caught. As the afternoon sun began to set, Robert decided to take a celebratory selfie with Jake and their impressive catch to commemorate this special father-son bonding experience. He positioned them with their fishing gear and the day's catch, both smiling broadly for the camera. Robert held his phone out to get the perfect angle that would show both of them and the beautiful winter landscape surrounding the lake. As Robert stepped backward to get both of them in the frame, the ice beneath his feet, weakened by the recent warm weather and underwater currents, suddenly cracked and gave way under his weight. The ice had been compromised in that specific area due to a natural spring that created warmer water temperatures, but this danger was invisible from the surface. Robert's final selfie captured his terrified expression as he fell through the ice into the 34-degree water below. Jake watched helplessly as his father disappeared under the ice, unable to find the hole again due to the strong current that immediately swept Robert away from the opening. The frigid water caused immediate cold shock, and Robert Anderson drowned within minutes, his body carried under the ice by the lake's powerful currents. Jake was rescued by other fishermen who heard his screams for help, but Robert's body wasn't recovered until spring. The final selfie showed the exact moment the ice gave way, becoming crucial evidence in investigations about the dangerous conditions that had developed due to the unusually warm winter. Local authorities used Robert's death to educate the public about the importance of checking ice thickness regularly and understanding how weather patterns affect ice safety. Thanks for watching. Click the next video for shocking moments turned deadly in ways no one could have predicted.